Good evening. We bring you the latest in the world of sports. I'm Paulo Del Rosario.
We give you the conversations you want to hear from your favorite icons and athletes. I'm Mai Tansai in tonight's game plan. We'll break down what makes this year's Manila Clasico so special and what fans should look forward to as Ginebra faces Magnolia on Christmas Day.
Then we'll talk potential blockbuster trades heading into the Christmas games, as we are always a fan of the NBA. Buckle up, sports fans. Let's get in the game. The PBA is serving the most exciting gift this Christmas, as we will witness longtime rivals Barangay Ginebra and Magnolia face off once again in another edition of the Manila Clasico. Now, helping us tonight to dish out the most exciting antics to watch out for come Christmas Day. Antics, I'm emphasizing it a lot. PBA Rush analyst Ali P joins us live. Ali, Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. I like, is the red tie for Christmas or?
I think so.
Okay, sure. All right. Look, this Manila Clasico,
Yeah.
first time we're gonna have fans in a couple of years. It just feels like a long time coming.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think Carlo Palmatuan talked about it. It's like 700 days or something like that. 2 years, and then finally, Christmas Classico, Manila Classico, we get a chance to not only cover the games, but also the fans be there with us as well. So, special.
And Ali, when talking about the most exciting players to watch, you mentioned Calvin Abueva and Justin Brownlee. How exciting is it to see them play here on Christmas Day?
Well, I think it's going to be very exciting overall.
Yeah.
So many players from both squads, and you know what happens with Manila Clasico or Christmas Clasico in this case. There's always fireworks, no matter what. The crowd's going to get up. Both teams are going to get up. The good thing is both of these teams are undefeated, right? And then you have a guy like Calvin Abueva, who I think is having the best time of his career
Yes.
playing for this squad. They've embraced him. He's embraced them. And it just looks like an overall really good relationship. Justin Brownlee, we all know what Justin Brownlee can do. I believe that he has been their savior in the literal sense, because he's helped them get out of some really tight jams, even though it's early in the conference.
Yeah, you know, I think Justin Brownlee's importance will be emphasized considering the injury list of Barangay Ginebra. The joke going around is that they have a first unit, they have a second unit, and they have an intensive care unit, given the 5 players that are out for them. And when you look at this Ginebra team, how much do you think they're going to rely on Justin Brownlee to get results, especially looking at the Manila Clasico?
I think they're playing much better basketball in comparison to last conference. I think that the offense that they're running right now is much more suited. Great adjustment by Coach Tim Cohn. The one guy that seems to be thriving from this offense is Christian Stanhardiger. Justin Brownlee has been there to sort of facilitate and keep things together, sort of that glue, which is a good thing to have.
Yeah. You know, speaking of Coach Tim Cohn, you mentioned him. Me and I actually were talking about the adjustments that Barangay Ginebra have to make, because Coach Tim Cohn mentioned something about Magnolia.
Yeah, that they're smaller and quicker.
Yes, for sure. They are smaller and quicker, but I think that's always been their MO. Outside of Ian Sangalang, they do a really good job of utilizing that and making that a really big strength because of their pressure defense, how active they are. And then their offense is clicking right now. And then, you know, you got Mike Harris. Mike Harris is just unbelievable. It's like he's 38 years old. I remember when I was 30. I remember how I felt when I was 38 years old.
Wait, you're not 38?
I wish I was.
Okay.
I'm killing 38 right now. But I mean, he's manhandling these young guys, and he's been very impressive. Absolutely.
And you know what, Ali, how big of a factor will pride be in this match, given that these teams are undefeated?
Huge. I mean, I think that's the overall, that's like outside of the fact that it's going to be Ginebra and Magnolia, that's the underlying theme here, pride. And I think it's even better, there's more magnitude to it because of the fact that both of these teams are doing really well right now.
Yeah, you know, there's just so much to watch out for here. But, you know, I even want to say that it's must-watch TV for the entirety of the show, including the halftime break, because during the halftime break, there's going to be a retirement ceremony for PJ Simon and Mark Pingris. I think it's well-deserved for that franchise in particular. Can you talk a bit about the two of them, your run-ins with them, and what their legacy is, his franchise?
Well, PJ Simone's story is remarkable, period.
Yeah.
I mean, he was drafted, in the 5th round? And, I mean, you don't see too many guys become who they are, who PJ Simone eventually became, who he is today, that come out of that type of selection. But unbelievable player. I was always worried about him as far as how my guards would match up with him, particularly in that post area. Mark Pingris is Mark Pingris. Energy guy, energy bunny. I constantly had to watch him wherever he was. And the good thing about Mark Pingris is I watched his game go from the high-flying dunker to all of a sudden the rebounder, the defensive guy, the guy that can shut down all positions out there in the court, and developing the offensive skill as his career went on. So both well-deserved, plus the championships that came along, what they contributed to this franchise. And you think about the deep history of Pure Foods, Magnolia, and all the championships that they've won and put together, from Alvin Patrimonio days, all the way to what they were able to accomplish until the end of their careers.
And Ali, let's go back to the upcoming game. Of course, there's a gigantic crowd waiting for them, like on Christmas Day. So how big of a morale boost will it be for these teams?
I think the morale is already up for both of these teams. I think it's just more of a special occasion. And it's like, what better way to welcome the PBA back officially, right, for the fans, than to have Manila / Christmas Classico with both of these teams.
Barangay Ginebra and Magnolia Hatches, Pambansang Manok, two of the more well-supported teams. Barangay Ginebra will argue that they probably have the louder fans, considering how many that they are.
Always,
But the fans will always be a factor here. But then right now, going into this, who do you think may have the edge over the other?
It's really tough. It's really tough to say. I'm probably going to have to go with, I have to go with Ginebra.
You have to go with Ginebra. All right.
you just never know what. It looked like they were going to lose that last game.
Yeah.
I was there. But then you got guys like L.A. Tenorio and Justin Brownlee, just making the clutch plays. But it can go either way.
Yeah.
I'll just say that.
We just had to put him on the spot, didn't we?
I'm sweating.
Yeah.
You put me on the spot.
We'll keep you here first, because after the break, we'll talk potential blockbuster trades heading to the Christmas games, as we are always a fan of the NBA. Stay tuned. You're watching The Game.
Welcome back to The Game. The NBA Christmas games are coming up, and boy, are we going to be treated with some of our fan favorite teams. It's the Brooklyn Nets versus the Los Angeles Lakers at 9 a.m. on Sunday, and then the Dallas Mavericks will take on the Utah Jazz at 11:30 a.m. Now, the only downside to our games is that we might miss some stars due to injuries and COVID protocols. But there still is plenty to talk about, especially when it comes to the roster construction of our favorite squads. Tonight, let's talk potential NBA trades that may or may not necessarily help our teams. Still with us for a discussion is six-time PBA champion Ali Peak.
All right, so Ali, in this particular discussion, I have not read the script. They asked me not to. They asked me to react alongside you. So let's get going. Ali, you're the game master here.
Okay.
So when you look at the list that was given to us, I think that we can say that these trades are potential blockbusters and should be something to watch out for. But Ali, first of all, do teams need to make a move at this point?
I think so. I mean, right now I'm just going to focus on the Lakers because that's all I seem to care about. But definitely changes need to be made, I think, for every respective team that's looking to do that. But I'm going to go back to the Lakers here. Yes, I think that they do need to make changes, but, is the damage already so bad that they can't really recover from that? I even think that if they make changes, that's not going to solve the problem.
So we're going to go to our first trade here. Coming up on screen, the Lakers are involved in this one. Let's bring it up right now. Detroit Pistons and the Lakers. Can you read that out for us here? We're going to have it. First of all, the Lakers are going to go for Jeremy Grant, according to this trade. And in exchange, you got Tanner Horton-Tucker, Kendrick Nunn,
and Austin Reeves.
Okay, so I think that this is very Lakers-centric, or very favoring the Lakers. I don't know if the Detroit Pistons would make it, but what do you think?
I mean, I like it for the Lakers, but is it going to solve the problem?
What is the problem? What is the problem?
They're not cohesive. I think at some point, Coach Vogel has lost them.
Really?
And I mean, they can say whatever they want to say, but I mean, the proof is in the pudding. They're not gelling together. Their defense is still horrible. I don't know. I really don't know.
Let's go to trade number 2.
All right, so we're going to look at the next trade over here and bring it up in just a bit. But then, their defense is horrible. Talking about the Lakers, hard to work with. But we're still with the Lakers here. This one alongside Sacramento Kings.
Yeah, we have Buddy Hield, Tristan Thompson, Marvin Bagley for Talon Horton-Tucker, and Russell Westbrook. What do you think about that?
Oh, man.
As long as Russell Westbrook is involved in a trade, I'll go for it.
You want Russell Westbrook out?
I don't mean this. I don't mean any disrespect to Russell Westbrook. I just don't think he fits into what the Los Angeles Lakers are trying to do. I just don't think. Yeah. I believe that they didn't even need another superstar to come over there.
Definitely.
I actually thought that they could have gotten Buddy Hield instead of Westbrook in the first place. In final ways to get there, because Buddy Hield, I think, is a great fit for the Lakers in terms of his shooting, in terms of his spacing, something that Westbrook doesn't necessarily provide, given that he drives in and has to operate inside. But again, the Lakers with all their problems, it's a lot to work with. And so we're going to try and move on to the next trade in just a bit. But as we're waiting for that, Tristan Thompson, Bagley, do you think that they can help out this Lakers team?
I think they can help out. I mean, the familiarity with Tristan Thompson, obviously with LeBron James, they have all types of problems.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, okay, so this next one we're going to look at, it involves the Kings again and the New York Knicks. This time, New York Knicks acquiring De'Aaron Fox in exchange for, who do we got?
Yeah, Kemba Walker, Obi Toppin, Alec Burks, 2 first-round picks.
I'm looking at what the Knicks want to do here, and I think the Knicks want to get young and want to get good in very quick order. And I think that haul, I think it favors I personally think that it favors the Sacramento Kings a bit because of the assets that they're getting in return. The 2 first-round picks alongside guys who can help in the short term. What do you think, Ali?
I agree with you, but I also think that New York is getting, I think, a star in De'Aaron Fox.
Yeah.
Someone that can push the pace. He loves to play that high tempo, which I'm sure Madison Square Garden is going to really love.
Yeah.
Well, we're going to see whether or not that will come true, but De'Aaron Fox, I think Madison Square Garden is going to be something here. The next trade we're going to look at also, we're going to bring up in just a bit, but then never sleep on Obi Toppin, never sleep on Alec Burks. Alec Burks is a scorer off the bench. But here, the Warriors now involved.
Yeah, we've got Christian Wood for Kevin Looney and James Wiseman.
So Christian Wood is arguably the most productive member of the Rockets right now. If you move him to the Warriors, I might say that that could actually make them more of title favorites than people consider them are right now. But I think that potential of Wiseman, especially down the years, they could be losing that. Christian Wood obviously still young, but I don't think it's a trade the Rockets would make. Do you think that? I'm not sure if you're too familiar with them, but then with Christian Wood, I think that if you're going to give him away, you need some more long-term assets apart from Wiseman.
I agree. I agree. Maybe Golden State might have to add one more piece into that. But I think historically, just about every player that Golden State has made a move for has really, synchronized in well with what they're trying to do.
Yeah, I remember when they got rid of Brandon Rush and then found a way to get Andre Iguodala, and we all remember what happened afterwards. So we're gonna see another trade in just a bit, but then of course Warriors fans would be, they'd be pondering that, and maybe Christian Wood being a part of it. But then this one, boy, I'm just shaking my head here. Go for it.
Yeah.
He's still with the Sixers.
Is
All
he
right.
going to practice? He's going to practice, right? What's going on?
You know what? I wish I knew. I'm not too plugged in. But then that was Ben Simmons for CJ
McCollum.
CJ McCollum.
Yeah.
That's not happening one-on-one trade, is it? It cannot. Like if you're the Sixers, you're selling, and the Portland Trailblazers have to get more than just Ben Simmons right now at the moment, right? That has to be the case. Or do you think that that's fair?
I just think it's a ridiculous. Right now, would anybody want to touch Ben Simmons? The answer would be yes, absolutely. But Portland, you know what? He'll be teaming up, obviously, with Dame, right?
Yeah.
So that might not be a bad thing.
Yeah.
And then McCullough would be less of a distraction for this Philadelphia 76ers squad.
Yeah, CJ McCollum, I think he could give. Actually, right now, Ben Simmons is more of a sunk cost for the Sixers, considering that he's just there taking up space, and not a lot of people would want him at the moment, or given the situation. So let's see. I think there's one more trade here on the block. We're going to try and take a look at that. Of course, CJ McCollum moving, that will be a lot. So we're going to go back here talking about the Lakers. So, would you rather have Kyrie or Russell? Ali?
Let's just hold. What you do in the stock market, right? Cryptocurrency, keep your emotions in check, just hold. No way.
No way.
Yeah,
no way.
I would, in this case, I got Russell Westbrook's back here.
Okay,
Yeah.
but what if look, let's say you're not just thinking about this year. Let's say COVID protocols aren't as important anymore. Do you think that this trade holds any value?
We all know what Kyrie Irving is capable of doing, absolutely, but
It's the values for Ali.
it is distraction like you wouldn't believe. And would the Los Angeles Lakers, it's bad enough as things are going right now, would they want to take on something like that? I don't see that happening.
Pretty
at all.
heavy.
Yeah, and but I would love to see Kyrie and LeBron team up.
I don't
again.
want to see any more reunions.
You don't want to see more reunions. All right. Well, the Lakers are all about reunions lately.
I know.
But anyway, look, again, don't miss the NBA action this Christmas weekend. Check out the schedule here. The Brooklyn Nets against the Los Angeles Lakers at 9 a.m. on Sunday. And then the moment wherein Carlo Pamintuan and I become enemies for a couple of hours, Dallas Mavericks taking on the Utah Jazz at 11:30 a.m. Ali Peak, thank you very much for joining us here today. I know that you have a long road trip right after this. And please stay safe, stay healthy, and we can't wait to see you again soon.
Thank you.
When we return, we'll check out some highlights from the Yamaha Motor Philippines Y Club year-ender celebration. Keep it here. You're watching the game. Welcome back. You're watching The Game. I'm Paulo Del Rosario. We shift now over to the world of motorsports as Yamaha Motor Philippines rode across the country for Y Club's year-end celebration. The Yamaha Club is a collective which started back in 2010 among motor enthusiasts from Luzon, the Visayas, and Mindanao. Throughout the years, the Y Club has gained over 48 official groups with 47,000 members and counting nationwide. With over hundreds of outreach programs and thousands of miles ridden across the country under their belt, the Y Club celebrated their 11th year anniversary with a special media ride. To celebrate 11 years in the moto community, riders from all over the Philippines completed an 11-destination checklist. These destinations represent the stories of the passionate Filipino riders. Media members were also taken through a special trip to Jariel's Peak in Quezon, all the way to Tagaytay City with the Yamaha VIPs and moto bloggers joining the fray. The event culminated with a special program with fun activities streamed live online for the enjoyment of all Y Club members nationwide. Now, after more than 2 years without a formal club ride, Y Club celebrates the end of 2021 with excitement and hope for a better year ahead with Yamaha Motor Philippines. Just fantastic that they had this event again.
Yeah.
And, it's supposed to be one of the most attended events that the Y Club has had, and it's great that they had some semblance of that going into this year.
And you know what? Y Club is the largest motor club in the Philippines, and they broke a lot of Guinness World Records with the largest participations, largest events, really including a lot of people. And given the pandemic, syempre nagkaroon ng halt. So it's exciting for them to lead the way for motor riders to go back to riding in a new, normal, safe way.
Agreed. And when you look at all those faces there, again, they wanted to find a way to continue celebrating in a safe way. And again, safety is still paramount to anything, especially right now during the ongoing pandemic. So kudos to the Y Club for having that particular event.
Yeah. And you know what, Paul? Let's move on to a bigger fight being experienced by our fellow countrymen. Marami sa mga kababayan nating nasalanta ng bagyong Odette ang walang makain, walang tubig, walang masilungan at nawalan ng mga mahal sa buhay. Ipadama po natin sa kanila ang diwa ng bayanihang Pilipino. Sa mga gustong tumulong, maaari kayong magmalasakit sa mga sumusunod na account sa inyong mga screen. Tuloy pa rin po ang Pasko para sa nasalanta ng bagyong Odette.
Meanwhile, the MVP group of companies together with its partners are in unity in spreading joy and hope this holiday season. And you can be part of this remarkable movement. This time, the residents of Ipilvil, Parañaque received a Noche Buena surprise. Let's watch this.
Okay, dito sa Ipilville, namahagi kami ng Noche Buena bags sa mga fire victims dito sa community ng Ipilville. Alam naman natin na napakahirap na ng buhay ngayon ng pandemya, tapos nadagdagan pa ng isang insidente ng sunog na talaga namang nagpapahirap palalo sa mga residente kasi wala silang tirahan, nasa evacuation area sila. So, binigyan natin sila ng konting pagsasaluhan ngayong Kapaskuhan.
Isa po ako sa nasunugan noong July 30, 2021. Ang laking dagok po sa buhay namin, lalong-lalo na may pandemic pa, tapos magpapasko din po. Masayang-masaya po dahil hindi po namin nakalain. Maraming taong tutulong sa amin.
Tuloy pa rin ang Pasko ng Pinoy kahit ano pa mang pasakit sa atin.
Isa sa mga dinadasal ko, nawa po mahipuin si Lord, gamitin, makapaghatid ng tulong para sa mga kinakapos ko ng mga kapitbahay, lalo ng mga nasanugan. Kaya ako, nagpapasalamat ako sa foundation, sa tuloy pa rin ang Pasko.
Taon-taon naman at patuloy na merong napipili dito sa area natin sa Parañaque. Para sa mga residente ng Ipil, sana po makatulong ito sa inyo ngayong Pasko. At alam naman po natin na kami sa Maynila ay hindi tumitigil sa pagtulong o pag-asiste sa inyo upang mabigyan kayo ng magandang serbisyo sa tubig.
Let's do our part and spread the Christmas cheer to our fellow kababayans. You may send your donations to the accounts flashed on your screens or contact us on the following details. Tara na sa isang maligayang bayanihan Pilipino.
Pasko, maligayang bayanihan Pilipino.
Thank you for joining us. I'm Mai Tinsay.
Watch out for a special Christmas Eve episode tomorrow featuring Jaja Santiago, Mark Espejo, and brothers Kiefer and 30 Ravena. I'm Paulo De Rosario. This has been The Game.